In the 2013 NBA Draft, 14 players were picked before Giannis Antetokounmpo. Back then, everyone thought these players would become NBA stars. Fast forward to today, and we're checking in on the top 7 players. How did they actually do? Did they soar or stumble? Especially compared to Giannis, who's now one of the best in the game. Drafted 7th overall in 2013, Ben McLemore was seen as a sharpshooting guard with a ton of promise. With a smooth jump shot and sky-high potential, he joined the struggling Sacramento Kings, looking to be a cornerstone of their rebuild. His rookie season was decent, averaging 8.8 points per game and showing glimpses of the scorer he could be. Yet, inconsistency plagued him from the start. Some nights, he looked like a future star. Others, he simply disappeared. His time in Sacramento was a roller coaster. He'd flash brilliance, then slump into shooting woes. The Kings, stuck in a perpetual cycle of losing, couldn't provide the stability he needed to develop. After 4 years, he was traded to the Memphis Grizzlies, starting a journeyman phase of his career. Brief stints with the Houston Rockets and Los Angeles Lakers followed, but McLemore never quite found his rhythm. His shooting percentages remained frustratingly low, and he was often a defensive liability. Teams hoped to catch a glimpse of that rookie potential, but it was becoming increasingly clear those flashes were all they'd get. In recent years, McLemore has bounced around overseas and the NBA G League, chasing the dream of an NBA return. Now in Spain, he continues to play professionally but has fallen far from those early expectations. At number 6, Nerlens Noel entered the NBA in 2013 as a defensive phenom. With his lanky frame, incredible athleticism, and shot-blocking instincts, he looked like the future of rim protection. His rookie season with the Philadelphia 76ers ended prematurely due to injury, but the excitement surrounding his potential remained. Unfortunately, the Sixers were in the midst of a long rebuild, prioritizing losing for draft picks over actual wins. Noel's development suffered in this environment. His offensive game was practically non-existent, and while his blocks were impressive, his overall impact was limited. In 2017, he was traded to the Dallas Mavericks, hoping for a fresh start. It wasn't to be. Noel remained a defensive specialist but struggled to find a consistent role. He bounced from Dallas to Oklahoma City, then New York, always a backup option. His career averages of 7 points and 5.7 rebounds per game reflect a far cry from the star potential he once possessed. Injuries only compounded his troubles. In 2023, he signed a buyout agreement with the Detroit Pistons, and after a brief stint with the Brooklyn Nets, now finds himself out of the NBA entirely. Noel had the raw tools of an elite defender, but never developed the other skills necessary to thrive in the modern NBA. Drafted 5th overall, Alex Len was a 7'1" center from Ukraine with a classic big man skill set. He had a soft touch around the basket and the potential to be a solid rebounder and rim protector. Joining the young Phoenix Suns, Len showed promise in his rookie year, but injuries would soon become his biggest adversary. Ankle and hand surgery sidelined him for significant stretches. When he was healthy, he'd flash glimpses of potential, but consistency was his enemy. Foul trouble plagued him, and his offensive game never truly blossomed. After 5 underwhelming seasons in Phoenix, he was traded to the Atlanta Hawks in 2018. Len struggled to find his footing in Atlanta. His minutes were limited and his role was unclear. A brief stint with the Sacramento Kings followed, and then a surprising run with the Toronto Raptors in 2020. The next year, however, he found himself mostly playing in the G League until a short return to Sacramento in 2021. Sadly, Alex Len became a classic example of an NBA journeyman. He bounced from team to team, always searching for stability and a chance to prove himself. Despite his size and early potential, he never cemented himself as a consistent NBA starter. His career averages of 5.9 points and 4.9 rebounds per game tell a story of unfulfilled expectations. Now back in Ukraine, Alex Len continues his basketball journey away from the NBA spotlight. At number 4 on the list, Cody Zeller had all the tools of a classic NBA big man. He was a skilled scorer, a decent rebounder, and a strong presence in the paint. His time with the Charlotte Hornets started with promise, averaging a solid 7.6 points and 5.5 rebounds in his rookie season. he was a reliable, if unspectacular, part of the rotation. Zeller's career followed a steady trajectory. He was never going to be a superstar, but he was a dependable role player. Injuries occasionally sidelined him, most notably a serious knee injury in 2017 that derailed what looked like his best season yet. Year after year, Zeller churned out decent numbers, a testament to his work ethic and consistency. In 2021, after 8 seasons in Charlotte, he signed with the Portland Trail Blazers. Unfortunately, his role diminished significantly. A combination of injuries and the Blazers' focus on younger players pushed him further down the bench. In 2022, he was briefly traded to the Utah Jazz before being waived during the preseason. Cody Zeller's NBA journey stalled in 2022 after 9 seasons in the league. While his career lacked the flash and excitement of some of his draft classmates, he carved out a respectable niche as a solid, hardworking big man. His career averages of 8.5 points and 6 rebounds per game are a testament to his longevity and the fact that he was valued by multiple teams throughout his career, even if he never reached the heights many expected. Drafted 3rd overall, Otto Porter Jr. entered the NBA as a promising 3-and-D wing, a guy who could stretch the floor with his shooting and play tough defense. After a quiet start with the Washington Wizards, Porter Jr. gradually developed into a valuable role player. His breakout year came in 2016-2017, where he averaged 13.4 points and 6.4 rebounds per game, shooting a sizzling 43% from three-point range. That impressive season led to a big payday in 2017 when the Brooklyn Nets offered him a massive contract that the Wizards matched, keeping him in Washington. Unfortunately, he struggled to live up to that contract's expectations. While still a solid contributor, the star potential he once hinted at seemed to dim. In 2019, Porter Jr. was traded to the Chicago Bulls, starting a new chapter in his career. Injuries, however, became his constant foe. He barely played in Chicago, and stints with Orlando and Golden State brought more frustration than success. But there was a silver lining. In 2022, Porter Jr. finally won an NBA championship as a role player with the Warriors. It was a sweet moment of triumph after years of struggles. Sadly, continued injury problems led Porter Jr. to announce his retirement in 2023. His playing days are over, cutting short a career that was always more about steady contributions than individual stardom. His career averages of 10.6 points and 5 rebounds per game reflect a solid but injury-plagued journey. Up next, Victor Oladipo's story is one of explosive potential, devastating injuries, and a fight to reclaim his former glory. Drafted 2nd overall in 2013, Oladipo was a dazzling scorer with an electric first step and a highlight reel full of thunderous dunks. He joined the Orlando Magic, showcasing his athleticism and scoring prowess, averaging 13.9 points per game in his rookie season. But frustration grew as Orlando struggled to win. Oladipo, brimming with talent, yearned for a bigger stage. In 2016, he was traded to the Oklahoma City Thunder, forming a young and exciting backcourt alongside Russell Westbrook. It was there that Oladipo truly blossomed. He became a two-way force, averaging over 21 points per game in the 2017-18 season while showcasing his defensive prowess. That year, he earned his first All-Star selection, a well-deserved recognition of his rise to stardom. Then, disaster struck. A brutal knee injury in 2018 sidelined Oladipo for almost a full year. The road to recovery was long and arduous. When he finally returned, his explosiveness was diminished. He was traded to the Indiana Pacers in 2021, hoping to recapture his old form. There were flashes of brilliance, moments where the old Oladipo seemed to be back, but staying healthy remained a challenge. Further injuries limited his playing time, and his scoring dipped significantly. The frustration of unfulfilled potential hung heavy. In 2022, Oladipo was traded to the Houston Rockets, a chance to rebuild his value. Now a veteran leader on a young team, his role shifted from a high-scoring star to floor general. While his scoring average remains a shadow of his All-Star days, Oladipo is finding new ways to contribute. At number 1, Anthony Bennett's story is a cautionary tale in the NBA draft. Drafted number 1 overall by the Cleveland Cavaliers, the Canadian forward came with immense hype. He was a force in high school and college, known for his power and athleticism. Unlike most number 1 picks, Bennett never made an All-Star team, but the expectations were enormous nonetheless. His rookie season was a disappointment, averaging just 4.2 points per game. He struggled to adjust to the NBA's pace and competition. A nagging shoulder injury didn't help. The dream of becoming a franchise cornerstone quickly faded. Traded to the Minnesota Timberwolves after just 1 year, Bennett never found his footing. Stints with the Toronto Raptors and Brooklyn Nets followed, each stop marked by inconsistency and a lack of playing time. The athleticism that wowed scouts in college seemed to disappear. His overall NBA career averages are a mere 4.4 points and 3.1 rebounds, a far cry from the expectations placed on the top overall pick. In 2017, he headed overseas to play in Turkey, then bounced around various leagues including Israel and Taiwan, chasing the dream of replicating his early potential. Bennett's career serves as a reminder that raw talent alone doesn't guarantee success, and that hard work, development, and a bit of luck are all crucial ingredients for a thriving NBA career.